Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Makara. I'm here in Auckland right now. It's super rainy today, so there's not much light here. However, I wanted to speak about this topic of masculinity and spirituality. Now, a lot of the times when we think of spirituality, we think of the kind of men who are very soft, right? You call them kind of wimpy, sort of like a pansy energy to them. However, once you really look at spirituality, there is a lot of rich cultural heritage, especially now that I'm here and I'm starting to understand the Maori culture a little bit more. There's this concept here called the Wairua, which is basically like the life force energy that runs through and is connected to Io. So Io or Io is like basically the grand spirit, and it's a very, very powerful. We don't exactly know how this energy affects us. However, everybody has this life force energy. We just call it different things, right? So I might call it prana from my Hindu lineage, or chi if I go to Japan or China, right? So depending on where I'm going and where I'm exploring, it would probably be related to that, okay, that place. Now, the thing about it is, you really have to understand yourself first before you start delving into letting go of the self, right? So it's self-actualization that needs to happen for you to then get into self-transcendence, okay? So what a lot of people do is they experience the very opposite. They don't know themselves to a certain point, and so then they try to emulate or to use spirituality as an escape rather than to ground themselves into reality even further. Okay, so this is what you might be noticing. People take a very ungrounded approach to spirituality, which then makes you begin to think that actually there might be something else going on here, right? This is not exactly how it seems. Like, spirituality doesn't have to be kumbaya all the time, right? There's a time for that, and there's a time for growth, ascension, activation of these energies, right? Another thing I've noticed is to basically stop delaying things, okay? You're saying that I need to wait to fix my money situation in order for me to get into a relationship, or I need to fix my social situation in order for me to do something else. This compromise, unsettled place where you feel indecisive is not going to make you move with this yang energy, okay? The yang energy moves with the graciousness of, let's say, lightning, right? Like an electricity. So you want to tap into that energy. You want to understand that we are ultimately electromagnetic beings. And if you understand this, then you know that I have a magnetism about me that pulls energy towards me, just like the allure of the feminine. But then there's also the charisma of the masculine, which is an electricity. It shocks the system. It awakens the system. So when you're hearing the truth and it's unfiltered, uncut, no additives or preservatives, that's when you know you're tapping into that yang essence. And especially if we start to understand more so like the warrior culture, right? And the tribes and how they used to set up different kinds of, like ceremonies or rituals or different ways to strategize and plan things and create much more structure for their own belief systems, as well as different kinds of traditional approaches, right? So I have this concept that I truly believe, if you are calling yourself New Age, you got to understand the iPhone itself is New Age, right? So New Age spirituality is just kind of a vague, amorphous term that doesn't really get to the root of what you're really struggling with. So I think in an advanced future, imagine like an advanced civilization, we would actually have warriors, kings, this kind of vitriol, right? Like this kind of high thumos energy that the Greeks would say, right? So it's really, really important and to consider this, given the circumstances that a lot of people, they might not even understand how connected they actually are, because they kind of push it to the back of their mind. You might be going through some kind of an experience where you're having ascension symptoms, or you're noticing different activations happening right around you, and at the same time you might doubt it because the culture or wherever the paradigm that you're living in doesn't really allow it, right? Nowadays people say that masculinity is toxic. However, the real terminology would be wounded masculinity, right? Because the true understanding of this is that the wound contains the womb, or the opening, the rebirth that we all need, okay? Now, a lot of people don't want to face their wounds. They don't heal their cuts, right? They look for band-aid solutions rather than long-term potentiation and growth. So what I highly recommend is you start approaching this very, very differently, okay? Spirituality is a very subjective journey, a personal journey. But if you project your beliefs and your limiting beliefs based on what you've heard about masculinity and spirituality, and it has to look like this specific way, it doesn't. There's a lot of brotherhoods and cacao ceremonies that you can go to, but it's not going to get to the root cause, the real roots of the work that you do, the inner work that you do. To be grounded in your spirituality and to mix masculinity with spirituality, you have to hang around other like-minded individuals, specifically men that you respect and admire, okay? Even if you're a woman listening to this and you want divine masculine energy, you have to find divine masculine men to be around and actually absorb their energy. And actually maybe even become friends with them, right? Start a friendship with certain individuals who hold up that mirror for you and reflect it back towards you. They don't let you struggle in your own BS. They don't let you swim in your pain. They hold it up to you so that you can actually move that energy and do something about it. You see what I'm saying? So this is the power of you actually activating a type of energy like this. A lot of people will tell you otherwise, okay? A lot of people will just say, you know, what's the point of doing that? That's just all bravado. Should we, start talking about even the concept of an alpha male? Listen, alpha male has the word alpha in it. Now, if you know brainwave entrainment, which I've studied a lot of my life, I've understood that alpha waves actually means a relaxed wakefulness. It's not exactly the showing and the posturing of masculinity like machismo, but it's more so a slow groundedness and inner depth that starts to slowly take its power, right? And it's almost like a lava-like energy. So it builds, it's warm, and you can trust it, right? You can trust it because if you look at the divine masculine, the light energy, the yang energy, it is pure truth, right? And people who are very effeminate men, or they're like, trapped in that paradigm, let's just say, number one, you probably haven't healed your wounds. Quite possibly mother or father wounds, right? Because that's where you get your first understanding of what masculinity, femininity even is. And I'm not talking about like taking a gender studies course and like really like trying to break this all down. I'm saying there's a real kind of ease, a collectiveness, a level-headedness of the divine masculine that you have to start trusting again. And only then will you start evolving into understanding these different patterns. Let's say you have issues with your father figure. You might just have these unconscious issues show up with other men in your life. Similarly, if you have issues with your mom, you might have issues with the women in your life. Okay, this is just a given. This is basic kind of psychology. However, I think it's very, very important for you to forgive your parents. Okay, this is a very important aspect, because if you forgive them, then the universe, God, Source, Allah, Buddha, can forgive you. So really start to understand this energy and delve into it, not with superficial eyes, but actually a deep groundedness, right? You're trying to explore this thing a lot deeper than other people, and you're not just doing it to fit in or like trend hop in spirituality, right? A lot of people are like, oh yeah, that kind of sounds cool. I'll burn some incense, I'll light some sage, and it's done. No, not really. Actually, there's a much more deeper aspect to this. It's not this soft, compassionate, like docile, timid, like version of it, right? There's a certain aspect where you have to understand there is a ruthlessness about this energy too, right? There's a kind of relentlessness that you have to understand. And I think it's this energy of unapologetically being you, right? That's the energy. Now, I don't mean that you don't apologize, but you know those people that over apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay. You don't have to say it like 11 times, bro, right? And it's the same thing with people who overemphasize certain things, like if they can't stop swearing, or if they're doing certain mannerisms that keep them in certain cycles and loops, right? So you have to observe all of these things and understand that as a man, I can change my perspective. And as you can change your perspective, you can change your reality, right? The way you're seeing the situation right now is making you feel bitter, perhaps hurt about something, and you get in your head about it, right? And this entire world is run from this left brain, this logical mind. So everybody's seeking results and going with the logical mind, like just go to 9 to 5, just ignore everybody else, you know? But if you just stop for a moment, you know, and you engage with other people, you become the walking conduit and the permission slip for other people around you to be super authentic. Okay, so if I'm authentic right now and I'm speaking my truth and I'm making this video, that means other people who also vibrate at that resonance of authenticity are going to understand that, right? Not understanding like some kind of pretense, oh, like this video, okay? Well, no, it doesn't. I don't need to even say that. The people who resonate with this will resonate with it. And I'm speaking to a specific individual who's been struggling with this concept for a while, because think of it like this, right? What is your utmost archetype of who you think a man should be? Think about it, right? Is it a soldier that showed up in your mind? Hey, that's your version of masculinity. Did you imagine like some kind of a man in a corporate suit, perhaps, right? Just getting shit done. Maybe that's your archetype of masculinity. So I want you to try to explore the different masculine archetypes. I love Padmasambhava's energy because he embodies all the masculine archetypes in one. He's a king, he's a warrior, he's a magician, and he's a lover. And I honestly think men are lopsided. You have warriors, but then they're not lovers. You have lovers, but then they're not warriors. You have kings that overarch all of them, however, they're also lacking in some aspects of the magician. Now, maybe you're a magician, but then you're lacking aspects of the lover. So this unintegrated, weird fallacy that you're creating of like, I need to be a rock star, or I need to be a, you know, person who handles things a very particular way. Or you make your entire life about money and wealth generation, not even understanding that that link is still connected to your father energy. Your father's energy is associated with your wealth generation. How much money you can make, because that is that structure and logic in your life, correct? However, if you are feeling resistant all the time and really worried and anxious and like you're overthinking things and feeling chaotic, then that goes to show you that maybe it's your mother's energy that you need, that soft, nurturing, you know, that feminine energy that you understand, right? We can pick it up because it's so replenishing. I mean, I understand this myself when I notice the Shakti essence, not just in a person or whatever, but like in general, right? There's this invisible feminine essence. Just like, you know, these trees are moving around. It's dancing like that feminine energy around it, right? And this is why men want to escape and go to like Hawaii or an island, let's say, not that I've escaped here, but this is like a summoning for me, you know, I've been summoned here. It's really important to understand that that energy is actually a very, very powerful energy. And if you can explore it, if you can understand what it's really trying to say, then you can get your power back and you can actually reclaim your masculinity and your spirituality together, okay? So if you think of your left and your right brain, right, your two hemispheres coming together to create a brain harmony, right, a brain synchronization, that would be the ultimate understanding of being able to work with both these extremes, okay? So perhaps you're very left-brained and you kind of push away everything that is creative or nonsensical or abstract, or you're super abstract, super creative, you know, super improvisational, but you lack structure, you lack discipline, you lack that motivation or that consistency, right? So it's really about finding out that midpoint, that sweet spot. And that's what I've been trying to do most of my life, essentially, is I've been noticing that energy and the way that it rises and drops and how I can actually embrace and do something about it, right? So again, heal your wounds, understand archetypes, become the best version of you, and constantly strive and push to be the best version of you, because only then are you going to realize that there's certain aspects of me that might be missing. And again, that's might be even just a self-care thing, right? Like if I have rejected the feminine within me, I'm not going to be very good at self-care. I'm not going to look after my hygiene, you know? I'm not going to be a nurturing mother to myself. You get what I'm saying? We all have this consciousness of masculine, feminine, and it's according to that that we bring in certain energies or we push certain energies away, right? So there's an attraction, but then there's also repulsion. It's the magnetism, it's the polarity, it's the balance of life. And I believe a lot of people, they get so stressed and caught up in their own lives, and then they get into a relationship, and what tends to happen? There's a polarity flip. Means the man stops acting like a man and the woman stops acting like a woman. The roles reverse, right? The roles reverse. So you might be with a very domineering woman, a very controlling woman, not even understanding that that's a sign that you need to work on your own masculinity, your own masculine energy. And what is that? To set boundaries, to say no, to understand that no, I actually want it to be like this. This is actually meant to be like this. And you don't have the authority to actually go against that. Like, that is my rules, right? I'm setting a certain law, not just with myself, but with others around me, so that we can actually co-create and thrive. I'm not doing it from malice or a weird place. I'm doing it so that we can have a harmonious container, right? A relationship, a powerful dynamic. So this is it, guys, okay? I hope you resonate with this video. Share this with a friend. If you're a bro, if you're a sister, whatever it is, share this with a friend. This is Uncle Makara, tapping out. This is Auckland, New Zealand. We're tapped in. Let's get it today. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same again. Peace.